In 1979, a 17-year-old girl was brutally murdered while walking to her sister's house. The case went cold for 45 years until a revolutionary AI revealed a shocking truth. The killer had been hiding in plain sight since day one. He was the Good Samaritan who called the police to report finding the body. Welcome to AI Bedtime Stories, where I uncover true crimes and different stories that uses AI to solve crimes and identify murderers. Our story begins with Esther Gonzalez. At 17 years old, she was described as shy, funny, and mild mannered, the fourth of seven children in a close knit family. She was especially close with her sister Elizabeth, who was only a year older. On the cold night of February 9th, 1979, Esther left her parents' house in Beaumont, California, to make the familiar walk to her sister's home in the neighboring town of Banning. But on this night, she never arrived. The next day, the search came to a horrifying end. Esther's body was found dumped in a snowpack off of Highway 243. An investigation determined she had been raped and brutally murdered. A vibrant young life was stolen in an unimaginable act of violence, leaving a family and community shattered. The investigation began with a bizarre phone call. On February 10th, an unidentified man called the Riverside County Sheriff's Station in Banning. He told them, "I found a body. I don't know if it's male or female." Deputies at the time noted the caller's strange, argumentative, and unhelpful demeanor. He was evasive, refusing to give details about how he found her or why he was even there. It took investigators 5 days to identify the caller. He was a local man named Lewis Randolph Randy Williamson. Williamson was brought in for questioning and agreed to take a polygraph, a lie detector test. In 1970s law enforcement, this was a formidable tool. Williamson sat for the test and the machine delivered its verdict. Innocent. He passed. Based on seemingly infallible judgment of the machine, Williamson was cleared of suspicion, and for the next 45 years, he was considered just a witness. For decades, the case file grew thicker but no closer to a solution. In 2023, the Riverside County Regional Cold Case Homicide Team decided to give Esther's case one last shot. They sent the decades-old evidence to Ortherman Corporation, a lab in the Woodland, Texas, that has become legendary for solving the unsolvable. It's the world's first private DNA lab built specifically for forensic genetic genealogy. The lab employed a method called forensic-grade genome sequencing. Unlike a standard DNA profile, which looks at about 20 genetic markers, this process, supercharged by AI, analyzes hundreds of thousands. This rich profile was then uploaded to the DNA Solves database, where AI driven tools began hunting for the relatives. Then, in 2024, came the light bulb moment. A crime analyst reviewing the case file made a crucial observation. While Williamson had passed the polygraph in 1979, he was never cleared through DNA because the technology simply didn't exist yet. There was one problem. Lewis Williamson had died of natural causes in Florida back in 2014. But investigators found a solution. A blood sample had been collected during his autopsy and was still available. With the help of the Broward County Sheriff's Office, the sample was sent to California Department of Justice. Technicians compared the DNA from Williamson's blood to the semen sample recovered from Esther's body in 1979. The result was a perfect match. What Othram accomplished was nothing short of a technological miracle. The 45-year-old DNA evidence was degraded and likely contaminated, a microscopic clue that other methods might have destroyed. Othram's revolutionary approach combines multiple AI systems to overcome these challenges. At its core is forensic-grade genome sequencing, an AI-driven process that can take tiny broken fragments of DNA and digitally stitch them back together, reconstructing a complete genome from as few as 20 human cells. This is powered by one of the world's most powerful DNA sequencers, the Illumina NovoSeq 6000, which performs massively parallel sequencing to process millions of genetic variations all at once. But the real brain of the operation is Othram's proprietary kin-SNP analysis. This AI uses advanced algorithms and even neural networks to analyze the vast genetic data. Convolutional neural networks, similar to those used in image recognition, detect genetic patterns, while other systems weigh the importance of data and separate the killer's DNA from bacteria and other contaminants in the sample. Once a profile is built, the AI acts like a sonar, sifting through databases to find distant relatives, like fifth, sixth, or even seventh cousins. It then uses graph based analysis and automated kinship inference to build out massive, complex family tree networks, pointing investigators toward a dark, empty space where the suspect should be. This case was special because the semen was 45 years old and there was no match in a criminal codes database, and the evidence was a complex mixture. AI succeeded where the polygraph failed, proving that modern technology could finally overcome the investigative limitations of 1979. For 45 years, the Gonzalez family was trapped in the ember of that horrible winter. The pain of Esther's murder never eased. Her sister, Elizabeth Gonzalez, now 64-year-old, said, "We are very happy that we have finally found closure." But the relief was tinged with sadness. "We are happy about it, but since the guy has died, a little sad that he won't spend any time for her murder." Her brother Eddie posted on Facebook, "After 40 years, the Gonzalez family has closure." Still, the what ifs remain. "Sometimes I wish I would have followed her," Liz said. "If I had known that was going to happen, I would have followed her." Detective Corey, who worked on the case, acknowledged the family's unending pain. He said, and I quote, "This killing still haunts them, but Esther was never forgotten by us all of these years." So who was Lewis Randolph Randy Williamson? He served in the US Marine Corps and then, after murdering Esther, went to live a normal life, eventually moving to Florida, where he died 35 years after the crime. His motive remains unknown, but his behavior fits a known criminal profile. Returning to the crime scene or injecting oneself into the investigation is a common tactic for killers, either to control the narrative or to satisfy a dark psychological need. His argumentative demeanor on the phone was likely a sign of nervousness and guilt, a red flag that was tragically misinterpreted for decades. He thought reporting the body himself would be the perfect cover, a move that deflected suspicion for nearly half a century. Esther's case was the 50th publicly announced case in California to be solved using Othram's incredible technology. Across the United States, there was an estimated 250,000 unsolved cases. Labs like Othram, which can now solve up to 5 cold cases a day, are rewriting the endings of our most painful mysteries. This technological revolution is even getting legislative support like the Carla Walker Act, which allocates funding for forensic genome sequencing programs. Though Williamson will never face a jury, the investigation into his life remains active. Authorities believe there may be other victims and are asking the public for help. Anyone who knew Lewis Randolph Randy Williamson asked to contact the Riverside County Cold Case Team at 951 955 2777. The story of Esther Gonzalez is a powerful example to the relentless march of progress. It proves that no case is truly cold forever and that no killer is safe, even decades after the crime. The technology that didn't exist when Esther was murdered is now the very thing that brought her justice. Lewis Williamson thought he had gotten away with murder for 45 years. Ghost in the Machine proved him wrong.